Welcome back. Well, now we're talking about WAEC, yes, the performance of students' results, and maybe who knows what else will pop up. We're joined this morning by Mr. Charles Eguridu, who is the head of the National Office of WAEC. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, last week we did take a look at some of the performance statistics of WAEC, and the guests we had talked about the 31% of those who passed. No, last year he said there were 31% of those people who passed. This year it was 39%, and that's still below the 50% mark if you talk about the performance of the students.
Well, I need to correct an impression here. I remember I've been here before, and
well, not on this matter.
Not on this matter. The assumption that it's only those who obtained credits in maths and English constitutes those who pass WAEC exam is grossly misleading. The candidates register for an examination that is about 8 or 9 subjects, as it were.
No, that 31 and 39%, that's a general figure, not just for those who did maths and English. The one for maths and English is also separate.
No, what the 31 and 38% are those who had 5 credits, including maths and English. The assumption is that those who have 5 credits, including maths and English, are those who are qualified to proceed to universities. So the assumption is that it's only those who are able to proceed to universities based on their WAEC examination results, those that pass the exam, which is not true. To assume.
Is there anywhere else where people are allowed to proceed for further studies without maths and English?
Of course, yes. Let me take you back a little bit. The curriculum or the Nigerian National Policy on Education does not prescribe that everybody who writes WAEC exam must gain admission into the university. The assumption is that those who have the aptitude to go to university will do that. But those who don't have that ability, there are teacher training colleges, there are polytechnics, there are colleges of education, there are nursing schools, and other professions. Now, I don't see what basically is necessary for a candidate to have a credit in mathematics to be a musician. Yes, we need mathematics every day. And looking at it more statistically, you will find that those, for this examination we are talking about, we have about 58% of the candidates obtaining grades 1 to 6 in mathematics, and about the same percentage in English. Because the other day I was listening to an analysis by somebody in this program that gave the assumption that since only 38% of candidates who wrote the exam had credits in 5 subjects, including mathematics and English, represented the fact that most Nigerians can't speak English. That is not true. That is grossly misleading. Because the statistics before me here showed that about 58.08% of the candidates who wrote the exam had credits in maths and English respectively. They may fail other subjects.
58%, that's what, for this year?
Yes, for this year, for the May-June 2015 WAEC, we had a total of, for English language, we had a total of 1,585,796 candidates sitting for the examination. And of this number, we have 921,138 candidates obtaining grades 1 to 6 in English language. That represented 58.08%. It's a similar figure for mathematics, except that in the case of mathematics, we had 1,583,286 candidates writing the examination, and of this number, we had 924,411 candidates representing 58.38%. obtaining grades 1 to 6 in mathematics.
So where then did that 39%
talk about? The 39%, the 39% represented those who had credits in maths and English and 3 other subjects.
So that's 5 credits and 5 credits in maths and English.
Maths and English, yes.
So what exactly will be the drawing down factor? What are the common subjects did they do but flunked massively?
Well, you will see that people have their strengths in various areas. I know that quite a number of these candidates were not properly prepared for the examination. Surprisingly, we found that as popular as economics will be, performance in economics was generally poorer than even in English language. In the case of economics, we had about 44.17% obtaining grades 1 to 6. In the case of, surprisingly, you find subjects like biology, we had 54.27% obtaining grades 1 to 6. In chemistry, we had 71.4% obtaining grades 1 to 6. And in physics, one would have expected that performance there would be very bad, but I found that 60.95% had grades 1 to 6. So when you take the subjects individually, you find that performance are more stable. But when you group the subjects together to see how many candidates had grades 1 to 6, including English language and mathematics, then you have this decline. And the assumption that it's only those who have credit in maths and English and 3 other subjects who are possibly qualified to gain admission into universities and those that pass the exam is grossly misleading. That is the point I'm trying to make.
You had your research unit in WAEC, and over the years you've been following the trend, looking at this particular result you've just reeled out. What would you say is responsible for this drop in some of these subjects, specifically the 2 subjects that have become compulsory over the years, mathematics and English language?
Well, when you talk about factors, we can attribute this to the poor quality of teaching and learning that is taking place in the school system. When teachers are not properly motivated, you have a number of teachers who have not been paid their salaries, some retired and they are not even paid their entitlements. Then the lip service of some state governments to education, again, is another problem. Because one of the schools are not properly equipped, there are no laboratories, no decent classrooms, there are no libraries. How then do you expect these candidates to perform? Then apart from that, you still have this idea that education is meant to pass exams and gain admission. Education is meant to equip the individual for life. That's the purpose of learning. But when learning is factored on gaining admission, then it has lost its value.
But that's what those who write WAEC want.
Well,
That's the reason why they write WAEC. I've not seen anyone who wrote WAEC say, no, I just want to go, but not everybody write WAEC and go home and go and equip myself.
No. I think I won't agree with you on that.
You know anyone who had, you could because you're there.
A number of students who write WAEC exams don't end up getting admission or even going to universities. Some end up...
There are 2 different things.
Yes.
They don't, and we have the figures too. But I'm saying that those who write WAEC, is there any one of them who will say to you, I'm just coming to write this exam because I want to go somewhere and just go and equip myself, not to go take it further?
Well, that is subject to verification, because I like to believe that individuals have their dreams and ambition, what they want to be in life. But I have seen students, I've interacted with them, quite a number of them will tell you they want to be footballers, others will tell you they want to be musicians, and there are such students that are looking.
But you know what we're promoting these days? We don't want footballers who will just play football without combining with academics. That's why they have scholarships. They encourage them, so that will help them with the contractual agreements and all.
Yeah, I think that this assumption is part of our failure as a nation.
Which is the assumption?
The assumption that everybody must go to the university is wrong, because those...
No, I'm not talking about it, I'm saying that those footballers these days,
yes,
what different institutions, different NGOs, groups, even former footballers, they're all advising them, yes, you can be a footballer, but you should also go ahead and get some literacy level higher so that it will help you in the future.
Yeah, that's the point. I agree with you that, well, this is the general trend in society today. But I think this is wrong, because if you look at the pages of history, the great inventors were not people that were very known to be lettered. The two people who manufactured the plane, the first flying machine, They were mechanics. I don't think they were university.
Well, I think if you look at that, it's certainly debatable. But you talked about states while we were trying to look at the outcome of your research unit. States here, you have just mentioned states, and we have seen so many states in the country try to come into, the lives, education lives of individuals in their states by even helping, to pay some of these fees to the West African Examination Council to write their examinations. How helpful has that been for the students, especially those who can't afford such payments? And what's the relationship within the West African Examination Council, that's WAEC, and states government?
Well, I'll start from the tail end of the question. The relationship between the council and the state governments, particularly the defaulting states, because I know that's where you are going, have been very cordial. I was in Abuja last week and I had a conversation with the Nigerian Governors Forum, and we had to reverse ourselves on the threats not to release the results, which of course I'm glad to have released. The policy to pay the entry fees of candidates is something I must commend the states for, because this is what obtains in some other lands. In Sierra Leone, the government there pays the examination fees for its candidates. Ghana does the same, at least for the basic education certificate examination. So Nigeria, which is a bigger country that is much more endowed, having the states do this is something we must commend. The fact that they defaulted, or some states defaulted, notwithstanding, is something I want to appeal and encourage other states to emulate. Because look at the number of candidates that have been deprived of this opportunity is something we must look at. Because the social effects of having an ignorant population is something we cannot contemplate.
Does this assistance from the state, can we also attribute this, dismal performance as a result of the assistance from states? Sometimes when some people get something on a platter, they don't really study hard or work towards that. Maybe they're looking at it as some kind of freebies from the state governments, as against someone who's seen his or mother or father work so hard to get him or her enrolled.
Yeah, there's this concept in biology that talks about the doctrine of necessity and sufficiency. It is possible in biology. Yes, in biology. It is possible that this disparate performance could be attributed partly to the salience that the candidates and their parents place on the examination. But it's not sufficient to determine the outcome of the candidate's performance. Because if people pay for the exam, they feel the pinch, the tendency that they want to work hard so they don't come back to repeat. But that does not remove the fact that if a candidate is poor in preparation, is not adequately prepared for the exam, whether he or she pays for it, whether the parents pay for it, he of course will fail. If the school is poorly equipped, if the teachers are not properly motivated, if the candidates have not covered the curriculum, there's no amount of self-motivation that will make him pass the exam.
Yeah, but you also did not talk about how that affected, say, preparations of WAEC for the next exams. If you're being owed, or if you were owed 4 billion, yes, how did it affect your operations?
Well, it did affect our operation because we have been in the business of examining for over 6 decades. We have an in-house mechanism of ensuring that we meet the societal expectation. Because I don't think it would look responsible as an examining board to tell Nigerians to say, oh, sorry, we cannot conduct these exams. States are owing us. We felt we owe our nation the duty to conduct the examinations first. It affected us adversely because quite a number of our examiners, we were unable to meet our financial obligations to them. We had to resort to appeals. We also could not pay our staff the entitlements. We are owing hotel bills right everywhere. We appeal to our creditors, the service providers, the printers, because they know we have credibility and they listen to us. And having
so all that is sorted now?
We sorted them out, and we are still sorting them out.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, and we hope that it continues in that stead, all going well. And that's Mr. Charles Eguridu, Head of National Office of WAEC, talking to us about the results released and the states who have now, they're sorting it out, as he said. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.